Good morning, seniors. This is the week 36 instructional video. In fact, it is the last video you're going to get on new information. Next week, I will have some instructions on a project you guys can do, but this is pretty much it as far as new information goes. So we're going to do the last part of the personal finance, and this week it's just going to focus on the children. So you only have three things to do. You have a very short reading. It's only 3 pages. Then you have a research project that will take quite a bit of time. And then lastly, you have a bit of video notes. So let's dive right into it. There's only 3 things because this is the largest research project I've given you. There's a lot of stuff you got to look up. And it's going to be a bit tedious, but don't worry. That sensation of complete boredom and stress and tedium is just going to prepare you for having children. So first we have the reading notes. That'll be using this PDF, the only other document you guys have in here. So you'll notice it's very short. It gives some general numbers assigned. This is just to give you guys a rough average. So for you guys, the main thing you need to read is the sections in the boxes. This is going to give you the most key information as well as kind of the bullet points. It just gives you an idea of the kinds of things you need. So this is all very general, and it gives you rough costs. So I want you guys to just pull, I know it says take one note, blah, blah, blah on each slide. So I will fix this, and essentially I just want you to take, so let's say 10 notes from the PDF reading document. There you go. So that's your new version of this. Okay. Once you've done that, I would actually suggest skipping the project. I just kept it in the same order for sake, and moving straight to the next item, the last one, which is the video lesson homework. 10 notes from this video. And this video is called Giving Birth Costs a Lot. Hospitals Won't Tell You Much. It's from one of the contributing writers from Vox. You guys will recognize that. I've given you articles from them before. Vox is a general politics, government, econ website. However, they were founded by an economist, a Pulitzer Prize-winning economist, in fact, or Nobel Prize. One of those two ones. I don't remember. And so, it's a pretty short video. It's only about 8 minutes or so, but it's a first-hand account of a guy who writes for this government econ website and trying to actually figure out how much it cost for his son to be born and the difficulties he ran into it. And it gives you a good insight into the the economic issues of the American medical system, especially for giving birth, that thing that a lot of people do, like, almost half the population. All right, once you've done the video, then I want you guys to go ahead and try and tackle the big thing, the research project. You notice this is several pages preloaded here because there's a lot going on. So follow the directions with me. Fill in the various charts below that show the different factors involved in the cost of having a child and keeping it alive for 1 year. Please keep in mind, this is just the first year. This is the year during which it doesn't really look like a human so much as an unfinished lizard thing. So keep in mind, this is just 1 year. So if you're thinking to yourself, dear God, this is expensive, you have no idea. So you're going to use the internet. So let's get into the details. You're going to use the internet to find the actual cost of items. These must be new. We're not doing hand-me-downs. I realize that in real life, access to hand-me-downs from friends and family members is a thing that happens, but we're just going to make an assumption that you do not have those kinds of resources because I want you guys to know what it actually does cost, what the actual cost would be. And you're going to list which website you use. Just give me the name. So for instance, it is possible that the answer to all these is just going to be Target. Target is where you can get most of this stuff. It's where I get most of the stuff in my son's first couple years. Now, not all of it can you get there, or is it necessarily the best deal? So there might be some variations. This first one on delivery needs, obviously you're going to need to use a different website. Something like birth.com or something like that. There's going to be several places where you can find how much it costs for the doctor visits and the actual delivery itself. The rest of this, the supplies, Target, Amazon, Walmart, any Babies R Us, any retailer like that. There's another one whose name I can't remember. But there you go. Just give me the name. I don't need you to link the page. That's way too much work for this. And give me whole dollar estimate. So if it says $9.99, just round it up to $10. Let's not worry about cents. Just round it up or round it down. If it's like $7.35, just round down to 7. So round up or round down to the whole dollar just to make our lives easier. Okay? Now, the number needed is set by me. Don't change it. So this is what you got to multiply. So for instance, prenatal and postnatal visits, find an errant source that tells you roughly how much they cost per visit without insurance. The number needed is 14. Do not change this. This is the actual number recommended by OBGYNs and all that. You're only going to have one delivery. If you have more than 2, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong, and you've got other problems than the cost. So, all these numbers, guys, are actual numbers I'm giving you based on my own experiences. And keep in mind, I'm giving you the minimum numbers. I am not giving you the maximum or even necessarily what I did. A lot of these I bought more of because I didn't want to have to do laundry every 2 days. So keep that in mind. These are the minimums, guys. Okay. Make sure to total up the entire amount at the end using a calculator. Add all the subtotals together. So I've given you guys a spot after each section, which I've color-coded to make life easier, a spot to calculate your subtotal. So use a calculator, add it all up, put it there. Once you've done that, once you finish the whole chart, and yeah, guys, this is going to take you a while. This should not be a one-day thing. This would, in the classroom, this would easily be a 2 to 3 day thing. It'd be like a, half a day of instructions and guide, 2 days of working on, and a half day to like break it down and see what kind of information people found. Okay, so total subtotals, take your time on this. Don't, try and do it all at once. Then you're going to add all the subtotals, and you got 3 questions here to answer. What was the total cost? So add all subtotals together. What was more expensive than you expected, or which cost surprised you the most? Now, before I get to the third question, I'm going to point this out. You must buy everything listed. None of this is optional for a fully healthy baby. You could easily buy more things. Okay? And this really does speak to a complex problem in the American economic system and social system that literally from birth, there are advantages and disadvantages based on your family income. Because low-income families, they can't afford all this stuff, as you're going to discover when you find out exactly how much it costs. And that means the kid, from literally the day they are born, has a disadvantage. On the other hand, if you have a high income, you can buy all this, you can buy the best versions of it, you can buy more, and it obviously gives an advantage. And yes, something like the higher quality diapers is an advantage, guys, because there's a big difference between the cheapest diapers and the biggest ones. It increases comfort. Kids sleep better. They're less likely to develop rashes or infections. Things as simple as that can have an effect long-term on the kid. Things like the difference between an infant car seat that's the cheapest, the most expensive model. Well, one of them is more likely to keep the kid safe in case of a car crash. So things like that to consider, especially because when you look at question number 3, if you cannot afford everything, as many in America, especially those who have children young, can't, what would you cut out of necessity? You are going to have to pick at least something that you would have to cut out of necessity. And I do want you to explain. In fact, I'm going to add that right here. So please explain your choices. Okay? I want you to explain, why do you think this is something that you can handle cutting out? And keep in mind, guys, some of these would be harder to justify. For instance, things like a Halo sleep sack are incredibly beneficial to the kid and the parent because it helps the kid sleep safely without having to worry about the kid injuring themselves in the night. But it's not necessarily something you must have. It's something you could take out if you really had to. On the other hand, things like, baby soap, you kind of do have to wash the kid at some point in the first year of its life. So make sure you can justify your choices. And that takes us through the end of it. Remember, if you have any questions, guys, I have a whole schedule listed online, and you can email me at any time, and I'll get back to you within about 1 day. Unless you email me on Friday night or Saturday, Sunday, I won't get back to you until Monday. All right, guys, enjoy.